Greetings, this is Careless of Random Encounter. First, thank you all for coming out to tonight's show, which marks our 10-year anniversary of being a band. It's pretty unreal to all of us to think this band has been around for 10 years, and even more unreal to think that anyone else besides us would show up to come celebrate. But tonight is also my last show with the band, which is also going to join a fairly prestigious list of bands that have survived the departure of all its founding members. And as many of you are probably pretty oblivious to the history of the band, I've put together a video detailing some of the more interesting happenings that we've gone through. And at the very least, it should be amusing. So, that's us, Random Encounter. 10 years ago, right after our second practice, Helios and I had met the night before at USF, and we both decided to start a video game cover band, calling ourselves Random Encounter, because that's how we met. It was a random encounter. We're just sort of like, I want to start a video game cover band. Me too. Let's do it. Yeah. There was also a guitarist who was with us that night, but he didn't show up for the practice the next day, and we never saw him again. I think maybe he just died. Anyway, during the mid-practice break, because practices were 12 hours uphill in the Florida sun, both ways, and I walked up to the first person I saw who was holding a guitar case and asked him if he wanted to be in a band. And thus, Luke joined our band. Helios' roommate, Vince, also joined us for a while, until his euphonium was repossessed. Now that I think about it, I think he also died. Anyway, the four of us recorded Neo Symbionts, which is what you're hearing right now. And Helios, Luke, and I survived to play a bunch of shows. We were awkward, we were having a lot of fun, we were giving away prizes like pogo sticks, ramen noodles, and telling ridiculous stories about our band's lengthy one-year history as adventuring monster hunters. We even added a squirrel butcher mascot to the band named Sparkles the Butcher, because you have more hit points if you have a longer name in Diablo. And a drummer, Adam 1. He's actually Adam the 5th, but he's always number 1 in our hearts. By one day asking a guy who was tapping on his hips and stuff if he happened to be a drummer, and he wanted to be in a band. Adam did not die. So twice a week, Random Encounter would go into my car and commute 2 hours to our practice spot while listening to our favorite video game bands, and we'd go to bed at midnight, wake up, practice at 4 a.m. in the morning, that's what a.m. is, have a quick breakfast, and be back on campus by 9 a.m. for classes and stuff. We played some cool shows, we, even opened for Yoshitaka Amano's art gallery, and one day, Helios graduated college and moved to Korea, and Luke needed to pursue an engineering double degree while inventing YouTube or something. So our MySpace following dwindled with their losses, as did our musical stuff and our sadness. We had a rough year and a half after that, and we lacked a consistent lineup. But we did have the distinct honor of working with a number of really talented musicians, like guitarist Nico, who left us after he went deaf one morning. I think he got better, though. And then Gigsley, who left after creative differences in instrument tuning. Destiny, who found her true calling as a warrior and forsook music to pursue armored combat. Lee, who wound up moving to Boston, and Hiro, who was with us for a very long while, but who had to stop playing trumpet with us after he chipped his tooth in a car accident. Fun fact, before the accident, Hiro could actually rock Big Blue on trumpet. It was pretty awesome. So for the next 2 or 3 years, Random Encounter was myself, Adam 1, a giant lobsterkin named Rasputin, a fairly scary TSA agent known as Demon Lord Dan, very briefly a nice guy named Ben, a Viking with an amazing beard, actually. We played a bunch of shows and started writing original music, and all agreed that we had huge creative differences in the sort of original music we wanted to branch off and do. So we recorded half of Random Encounter self-titled together, which is probably what you're listening to right now, and an unreleased album called Brick, which I've slowly been releasing parts of under the name Careless Juja. And then the band split up. Right after my first original song, Ocean King, was deemed too edgy by the others. So that's what split us up. And during the night of the split at IHOP, Rook said that I should continue the band. We were good friends, and she agreed to help share my passion of video game music and original songs inspired therein by with the world. We had our first practice with the help of Konami, formerly a member of the band Select Start, and a cardboard cutout of Legolas who was attached to a drum machine. But Legolas proved too much of a diva to stay with us long term. So while ordering pizza, we accidentally recruited Moose, who in turn recruited Kit, a famous YouTube guitarist at the time. For the last 5 years, we've performed throughout the United States as Random Encounter, touring the UK, France, Spain, Finland, Sweden, fighting our doppelgangers in the Polish band, also called Random Encounter, which also features an accordionist. And we also, we seem to have aged horribly, looking at some of these pictures. Except Konami. He's clearly part vampire or something. Over the years, we were voted the #2 folk act, the best rock act, the best indie act in Orlando, Central Florida, rather, by the Orlando Weekly. We were featured in badassoftheweek.com. We got to meet some of our idols, got the achievement for going to over 50 conventions. We had Scott Pilgrim-style showdowns with rival bands, performed with our idols like the Earthbound Papas, They Might Be Giants, Andrew W.K. Voltaire, and as part of Video Games Live. We've also been TEDx speakers and performers, and we've had friends. We've become friends with some of the video game composers and bands that inspired us to become musicians. Grant Henry, the One-Ups, the Neskimos. We also released 2 full-length albums and written the music for an original video game called Super Galaxy Squadron. We also have some cool things coming up in the future that I can't really get into very much, but it's going to be awesome. All this time we've made friends, we've had a positive impact on people's lives, and we somehow met you. Without you, this video would just be another unused creepy file on my computer that no one besides me or perhaps Juju or Moose would listen to. On behalf of everyone who's Random Encounter, which you guys are if you're here, you're Random Encounter too, thank you for being here. And thank you for supporting us.